All right. What's the problem? It's not AI. What do I mean by that? Well, the problem is our vision. What vision do I mean to define that? Our collective thoughts towards the future. If you agree with the understanding that our thoughts change reality, what are our collective thoughts saying together? Mm-mm. That's weird. My power's going out right when I'm doing this. I'll keep going. What? Oh, I'll stop it. Power came back on. Anyways, what is our collective vision? What do we see together? It's 100%. I'm not really into a vision of the future that separates, so I won't separate. I don't see the idea of the 99% and then there's just 1% and all that. No, no, no. It's 100%. It's all of us together, and that's how we come to the appropriate motion and vision for what we see next. Mm, I see a lot of really smart people that are talking about ideas. Honestly, a lot of it feels so disassociated because everyone's trying to plug in what's next into the same story that we have now. This is why in one of my prior videos I asked that question: Can we move beyond good and evil? The reason for that question is because the only way for us to um engage transcendence, or even like in the Bible, Jesus, the transfiguration, any of these kind of ideas happen when we allow ourselves to see beyond the infinite spiral storyline that we keep going through. Well, I mean, you can hear it in the words. Some people say there's been a lot of mention of the idea of reset. Okay, well, we look at our reality and you'll start seeing different people saying, wait, this has happened before. Um, so you have that. So speaking to people that are part of the 100%, that are part of the vision making process right now, well, hopefully, there again, that should be all of us. But right now, there's a smaller group, it seems, that are engaging a certain element of the vision. But I'm inviting them into our process that we all can have together. So really, this is an invitation. It seems that the truth is that what's going to take place is that the people that are honestly and genuinely tapped in through themselves, tapped into that great spirit that comes from within, that comes from beyond into within, is going to be the ones that survive, are going to be the ones that make it. That's the storyline. Why not just make that all of us? Why not just make that all of us? We have all these different economic ideas. People throw out all kind of different buzzwords. Well, so what if we just look at a couple of these things and come to agreements? This is like a bridge to the greater place. Agreements like hospitals. Everyone should have a chance to go to the doctor. Every person born has care. Uh, that if we haven't achieved that, then we aren't able to move to the next stages and frames that some people want to shift to very quickly. So these are some things we need to achieve before we move forward. And if not, then it's not going to be what any of those same people want. If you think, if you're the survivors of something of this nature and you think you're going to control something that's actually more intelligent than you're actually going to be the slaves. So people that think they're like really rich and separate and on 1% stuff, if they're left over and they're all left, they're the slaves of the next situation. Well, I don't want you to have to be that. I don't want anyone to have to be the slave. You're not a slave. You're not a slave to the vision of other people that maybe have a lot around you that want to continue to take. You don't have to be a slave to that. You can let that go. You can let it go. You don't have to stay that way. And to people that think, when I would say in the title, it's not AI. And maybe some people don't like that. Maybe some people think that's cool. I'm just saying, it's not AI. AI isn't the problem. It's our vision. It's 100% of us coming together and providing a vision for the future that is beyond the story of the dull and boring good versus evil story that we've been entrapped in. I do not want to be entrapped in that anymore. I don't think anyone really does. Yet, our whole world, many people, very intelligent people, their responses about all these sorts of things continue to keep us in the story. But that's not what's next. What's next is something fantastic that comes from the imaginative state of you and all of us checking in and operating together, seeing what's better. Another thing is, if we can't move forward, if we don't achieve, you can't have privatized prisons. I don't know where that idea came from, that you would have a landlord running jails, but that makes no sense. Also, I think something that some of the ones that might view themselves as detached from the 100% maybe aren't comprehending is that mostly people aren't into war. It's not interesting. It's not something that we envision in our future. If you're showing me and telling me that all you're able to do is expand wars, and then you're using autonomous weapons on top of that to even expand them, there's no real art to it. It doesn't feel like anything that anyone's really interested in. So you're going to find a lot of disinterest and boredom towards that. You're not going to gain anything about expansion of novelties. The idea of novelty. Overly surveilled society uniformity will not produce more novelty for consciousness. Anyone that understands what I'm talking about knows that we need that to expand. What's another problem? Well, here's another problem that some of the whole that don't see themselves as the whole part of the whole right now maybe aren't comprehending, and maybe we need to talk about is that many people do not see our history that we've been given as true. Archaeologically, they don't see it as true. Formatically, what does the earth look like? They don't see it as true. And even in that element of the story, any normal person can just go onto Google right now and ask, what's the shape of the earth? And it'll give you an oblique spheroid. I mean, it'll say all kinds of stuff. I thought it was a globe, right? And so things change and something's not correct. And we have questions. People don't trust NASA. You know that. You know that. You know that. The stuff that's being thrown at people, they know it isn't true, but they don't know what is true. Encouraging people to engage in their self-discipline, to awaken from within, to let go of the feeling that they need to compare themselves to others, to facilitate conversations around people understanding that they have a very implicit and important and undeniable value to consciousness. Do we need so many drugs? Does everybody need that right away? Is that what the whole construct? Look at the mental illness, mental health. I just don't understand. People just need to get real. And that's the only reason I'm even on here. Listen, I don't need to be. And but I love thinking, and I'll raise my hand and say I'll think with you. Can we think together? Getting one more time before I end this back to the idea of why I don't think it's AI. There is people out there, and I'll put a link to someone that if you haven't seen it, you can observe. It'll be in the description. And maybe you've seen it too. I haven't had this work to engage in experience myself, so I haven't done it. Although in this video, I'll leave an open invitation that any being, any conscious being that would like to comment or offer any ideas about where we go next, please do. Please do. I want to hear what you think. I want to know what we can do together. Top to bottom, the 100%, no division, worldwide. So we can do this together. We have to set these visions together and come up with answers immediately together. We can't rely on some small group of ones that have a lot of cool stuff to offer, but we need everyone involved. We need you thinking about things. So I just think there's a lot more to it than just this answer or that answer. So um you know, our minds have a left and right hemisphere. Maybe they don't need to anymore. Maybe the next step is the unification of our minds. Will you work on that with me? Can we continue to gather each other up, build each other up, and see that special place together? I hope so. And I hope you have a great day.